Not the series we wanted or that we expected against Texas. The Cubs' bats went silent and cold Saturday and Sunday, although the pitching for games 1 and 3 were both very good. Welcome back to Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. I'm your host, David Butler. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us some comments and leave us 5-star review if you're watching on YouTube or listening on any audio platform. The Texas Rangers on Friday, Big Ben Brown shut down the Rangers, followed by Javier Assad with Ryan Rolison in between. Not the best outing for Ryan, but he's been really good overall. The Cubs scored 7 runs on 9 off of 9 hits and 4 extra base hits and 6 walks, forcing traffic early and often. Seiya hit a home run, and Conforto and Pete both had multi-hit games. Saturday saw lots of base runners early, but the Cubs offense could not cash in and get anything going. The Cubs got blanked 6-0 on Saturday night. Edward Cabrera had his worst start of the season, and the Rangers cruised. Sunday, the Cubs got shut out again and lost the series. Jacob deGrom was vintage deGrom, though, and was just flat out filthy, striking out 10 in 7 innings. On the injury front, via MLB.com, Matthew Boyd went on the IL with a torn meniscus on May 6th. He tore it in an odd accident as he was getting on the floor to play with his kids. He is expected to be out at least 6 weeks. I think we all know that we probably can anticipate it being a little longer than that, as it generally is. Caleb Thielbar had a bullpen session Friday, May 8th, and a light mound workout today on the 10th. He is scheduled to throw a live BP on Wednesday, the 13th, before having a minor league rehab assignment. Hopefully, I would say, best case scenario, he's back by next weekend, possibly, against the White Sox. If not, then, this is obviously barring any possible malfunctions or setbacks. I think it's reasonable to expect him back at the very least next Monday. So, Hunter Harvey had a setback on Thursday, May 7th, per Craig Counsell. Has been shut down for a month and moved to rehab in Arizona. Jordan Wicks threw 81 pitches and 4 shutout innings in his 5th rehab start on Sunday. When I first saw that, I thought, wow, 5. Then I remember the dude really had no spring training. So, I got to believe that they're going to make a decision soon with him, probably starting him out in AAA. We all know about Justin Steele and Riley Martin and what's going on with that. So, just things to be aware of. But those guys hopefully will come, or they're not coming back anytime soon. But hopefully there's not going to be more setbacks with anybody. So, but it happens, folks. It happens. I want to get into a few guys, Cubs starting pitching trade target connections. 3 guys the Cubs were connected to this week. Really this weekend, recently. Bruce Levine mentioned something about Freddy Peralta, and then I read a piece on Bleacher Nation about Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. To be frank, all 3 would be welcome additions to a beleaguered starting staff and pitching staff with a lot of injuries. However, I'm going to say that would ultimately depend partly on Bryce. Do we give up a Jaxon Wiggins for a dominant guy in Freddy Peralta who is only a rental? And there's no guarantee we can re-sign him? Absolutely not, in my opinion. As great as Freddy Peralta is, and as much as I love that idea, and again, a guy who's still pretty young, that doesn't make sense to me. But I could be wrong. Tell me you guys' thoughts on that. For a guy like Robbie Ray, who's 34 years old and also a rental, even though he's pitching really well and really currently has the best stats of all 3. Even if we were to get to like Freddy Peralta now, because the Mets suck. The Giants suck. And the Giants just traded Patrick Bailey, who is not a high offensive catcher, high impact offensive, but the dude is lights out defensively. He's all the defensive metrics. He's like almost double the second closest guy to him in defensive metrics for catcher. That's very, very important. And it's a huge weapon. The Guardians traded for him, and they traded quite a bit to get him. So I think that I'm still not comfortable with trading a guy like Jaxon Wiggins, and I think any trade would probably start with him for these guys. I'm also not like keen on the idea of trading Matt Shaw, unless it's a deal where like we get Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. I am keen on the possibility of trading Jaxon Wiggins for a guy like Logan Webb, and this is the reason. Logan Webb is under contract for the next 2 years after this year. Even in July, I would be okay with trading Wiggins and a little bit more for a guy like Logan Webb. Logan Webb has not got great numbers overall this year, but his ground ball rate is still very, very elite. And with the defense like the Cubs have behind him, his 56.8 ground ball percentage is phenomenal. He has a ERA of 5.06 right now. His expected ERA is 4.57. His FIP is 3.59, and his expected FIP is 3.42. So all of that tells me that the dude's had some bad luck, along with some other crap just not happening. The Giants' defensive efficiency this year has not been terribly worse than the Cubs. The Cubs is 726 on Baseball Reference, where the Giants it is 710. The Cubs are 4th, the Giants 8th. That's not a giant difference, but it is a difference. And I think the Giants' defensive efficiency will go down quite a bit without Patrick Bailey now. I think Patrick Bailey played a big role in their defensive efficiency being that high. And I think he's that good and or great of a catcher, frankly, defensively. So I think that the Cubs defense makes both Logan Webb and Robbie Ray huge additions to the lineup. Now, Robbie Ray, or to the starting staff, but Robbie Ray has a 27.4 ground ball rate, which is pretty low for him. In San Francisco, that's not a terrible thing because ball doesn't fly out of there. It doesn't always fly out of Wrigley either, but when the wind's blowing out, that can make a big difference. And it's not just about Wrigley, it's about everywhere, like how they pitch everywhere. So I think all three of these guys are solid to really, really, really great trade targets, depending on what the price is to get them. Robbie Ray should command the least price of the three. One is 34. Although he's pitching the best of the three right now, results wise, I don't know that something like that stays. Craig Counsell and Jed Hoyer. Actually, I think it was Jed Hoyer last trade deadline season had talked about going after guys who have good track records, but maybe hadn't had the best results early on. And Logan Webb is a prime candidate for that right now because you know that the guy is going to pitch better. Even some of the peripherals show that he is pitching better and he's going to get better results. He's never had an ERA above 3.47 since 2021. And, that was in 24. And he's always hovered around the 3 to 3.25 mark, ERA-wise. I think that could even improve in Chicago with the defense that they have. They have an incredible defense that I think is completely and utterly underrated in terms of how it impacts the starting pitching and all the pitching, relief pitching, starting pitching, all that. So, and a guy who primarily gets ground balls with the infield that the Chicago Cubs have, that's going to be killer, or could be killer. I mean, it's not happening, definitely happening. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying Logan Webb is a great guy to possibly go get. Freddy Peralta has a ground ball rate of, where did I just saw that. I'm sorry. 43.7, which is actually the highest that he's ever had. It's obviously a smaller sample size. There's a whole lot of season to go, but that's pretty solid. Um, Strikes out a little bit more, or strikes batters out more than Logan Webb typically does, but he hasn't this year. Um, good numbers, good results. Would be a really good candidate, and it would just be fun to say, "Haha, Milwaukee, look who we got." He's had great success with Jed. Frankly, I'd love to go get both of these guys, but I also am intrigued by the possibility of getting Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. Maybe I am way light years ahead. I don't think anything's going to happen right now, but if anything were to possibly happen now, these three are the best candidates for that, in my opinion, of high impact type guys. So I will shut the hell up on this now and move on. But things to consider. The Atlanta Braves. We travel to Atlanta tonight. The Cubs do, and we'll start a 3-game series on Tuesday. There's an off day in Atlanta tomorrow. The Braves have not announced any probable starters yet, unfortunately. I was trying to hold out for that some, but that's okay. On Tuesday, we got Colin Ray, who is 4-1 with a 4.03 ERA, going against to be determined. On Wednesday, left-handed pitcher Shota Imanaga, who is 4-2 with a 2.28 ERA, will go against a to be determined. And on Thursday, we have Ben Brown going. He is 1-1 with a 1.82 ERA, was absolutely dominant on Friday night against Texas in his first start of the season. Am I saying that's going to happen for sure again? Nope, I'm not. Not by any means. But if he pitches the way he did, I don't care what lineup he's facing, he's going to be pretty darn good. Atlanta's deep offense and starting lineup is far better, though, than Texas's. Atlanta comes into the series having just played the Dodgers in LA. They are 6-4 in their last 10 and currently have won 2 in a row over the Dodgers and own the best record in baseball at 28-13. The Cubs are tied for second at 26-14, I believe. Maybe the Rays are a half game ahead of them. I can't remember for sure. Frankly, at least currently, this is another big matchup between really good teams and the best teams in the NL and two of the best in the majors. The Braves are averaging 5.3 runs per game in first, while they have a team ERA of 3.17, which is second in the majors. These numbers are all not counting Sunday's games, so I want to preface that with that. The starting pitchers have an ERA of 3.11, which is third best in the majors. And the bullpen is pretty darn good too, with a 3.26 ERA, second in the majors. The Cubs themselves are no slouch, averaging 5.38 runs per game, second in the majors, but their ERA dips some comparatively at 3.82. The Cubs starters have a 3.83 ERA, eighth in the majors, while their bullpen has a surprising 3.81, which is 10th. And I say surprising because of all the freaking injuries. It's been pretty impressive what they've kind of patched together. The Braves offense is led by Matt Olson with a 1.025 OPS and 13 home runs, but Ozzy Albies, an 883 OPS and 8 home runs. Drake Baldwin, 883 as well OPS and 9 home runs, and Michael Harris, an 868 OPS with 7 home runs, have been no slouches themselves. The Braves are averaging 1.38 home runs per game, while the Cubs are averaging 1.28. This is a battle of heavyweights, folks, and should be a really, really good series. To top it all off, both teams are also in the top 4 with defensive efficiency as well, with the Braves second at 730 and the Cubs fourth with a 726 offensive efficiency. Our players of the week for pitching, I'm going with Ben Brown. What he has done this week has been absolutely amazing, and I'm using him as a starter instead of a relief pitcher. And I'm going to say Phil Maton as relief pitcher. Or offensively, I'm gonna go with Michael Bush. He's had a really, really good week. I don't have official numbers today. I apologize for not having those. But it was Mother's Day, and I was trying to get everything together as quickly as I could, but also make sure that I gave the proper amount of time to my wife and the wonderful mother of my children, and talking and visiting to other important people like my mother-in-law and my grandmother. So, and I didn't mention my mom because she's passed away. So in case anybody wants to say, hey, why didn't you talk about your mom? That's why. So everybody, have a great day. Thank you for watching and or listening to Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us some comments. And leave us a 5-star review if you are watching on YouTube and or listening on any of our audio platform. Have a great day, and let's go Cubs.
Go, Cubs, go!